Joel Salatin, how do I create a grazing plan? This was one of the several excellent questions asked during the live Joel Salatin question and answer time that I hosted last month. Coming up is the answer, and if you guys would like to watch the full 1 hour replay of that live meetup, click on the link down below and I'll send it straight to you. Gilbert asks, Joel, how do you set up a grazing plan for your farm?
So in the winter, when the snow is blowing and I don't want to be outside and I do desk work. So what I do is based on history. So as you keep your records, you will gradually develop a history of your different fields and how much production they gave. Now, we measure all of our production in cow days per acre. So a cow day is what one cow will eat in 1 acre. The thing you can't measure something if you don't have a constant. You know, what kind of measurement would it be if you called a guy to build a barn for you and he walked in and said, well, now I'm going to use inches over here, I'm going to use metric over here, and I'm going to use bushels over there. You'd look at him and say, get out of here, you're a crackpot, right? And so what we need is a constant. We need bushels, we need pounds, we need inches, we need something. So our constant is cow days per acre. So we convert all of our herds, calf herds, cow herds, bulls, whatever it is, to cow equivalents. So for example, if a cow equivalent is, let's say, 1,000 pounds, and if yours is 1,400, you have to use a different figure, but we have small cows. And so we use a cow equivalent about 1,000 or 1,100 pound is a cow equivalent. Well, it takes 5 200-pound calves to make a cow equivalent. It takes one bull is 1.5 cow equivalents. A finishing steer at 900 1,000 pounds is almost a cow equivalent. Like 0.8, right? Cow equivalents. The point is, we're looking at this herd and we're not saying we've got X number of head here. We describe that herd as cow equivalents. So once you know what your cow equivalents are, every day when you move them, you know how much you gave them, an acre, 2 acres, half an acre, whatever it is. You keep those records of cow equivalents, you add those up at the end of the year, and you can determine, well, this year, on field A, we grazed it 3 times and it's 10 acres. We grazed it 3 times. The first time through, we got 35 cow days per acre. The second time through, we got 60 cow days per acre. And in the winter, we got stockpile. We got another, 50 cow days per acre. That gives us a total of 100 and whatever. What did I say? 145 cow days per acre we got from that field. Okay, that enters into our historical context as to the productive capacity of that field. We do that on all the fields, and then all the fields combined create a farm productive capacity. All right. So we sit down and make the grazing plan in the wintertime. We make the grazing plan. We've got this historical record, and we know that, for the last 5 years, field A on May the 1st generated 30 cow days of grass. All right. Well, that field is 5 acres. So 30 cow days at 5 acres, 150 cow days. We've got 30 cow equivalents in our herd. So the herd will go in that field for 5 days. We're going to divide it into 5 paddocks. We'll move them every day, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 through that field, and they'll go there 5 days. All right, that takes May 1 to May 5. Now, where do we go May 6th? All right, and you see, you just build your grazing plan based on your best guess of your previous performance, and don't be conservative. It's always better to have a little extra feed than run out. Right. And so be conservative, but use your historical, and you build your grazing plan based on that. So that's the kind of big picture. I want to describe one more nuance though that's very, very important, and that is you never want to start in the same paddock every year. you want to skip. So if you started in paddock A this year, next year start in paddock F. Next year start in paddock M. Here's the reason. The forages on your farm, aren't looking at the calendar. They're responding to climatic conditions, day length, all sorts of things. And so different kinds of forages will respond to the same climatic conditions, but it'll be at different times of the year, but it'll be very similar. The red clover blossoms will always come within about a 10-day window every spring, right? The big blue stem, right? It will flower within about a 10-day window every single year. Okay. So here's the deal. If you start and you go, paddock A, B, C, D, E, every single year, and you start the same place and go through it every year, it moves you toward monocultures as opposed to polycultures, because you're not allowing different forages to fully express their genetic capacity at different times of the year. So part of the grazing plan is not only this, all right, here it is for the year, but it's also looking back and saying, all right, I started here last year, I'm going to start here next year, I'll start there the next year, start there the next year, so that you have this long rotation cycle, so that you don't come to the same paddock at the same climatic conditions in the same seasonal time period every year. And that moves you to a more diversified, luxuriant, diversified forage bank.
That's a really good one. So in essence, a grazing plan consists of measuring first, managing later. Especially somebody like me who's kind of new to this, I would do well to spend my first 2 years as a grazier just recording like crazy. And then I could begin to make definitive grazing plans, if that's basically what you just said.
Yes, absolutely. And so as you look back on those dates, see, you can see what the different fields do. And guess what? The neat thing about this is you can track your progress. You can say, wow, right, my trajectory, I started 10 years ago at 100 cow days per acre. And guess what? Now we're, the last 2 years, we've been up there about 140. That's a very exciting thing to learn for yourself. By the same token, if it's going down, then we're, something's wrong here. Our trajectory is down. So yeah, it comes with a constant measure, the cow equivalent or the ewe equivalent, or whatever you want to call it, for what works for you. 7 ewes equal a cow. All right. So, you can do this however you want to. And then the area. And that means you need to know, how much you've given them every day and how many days they're in a given field, how many acres that is. And then you just add it up. It's simple math.